Hey everyone, welcome to Ink Radio Podcast, episode number 4, where we support Australia in this episode, and everything down under. I just realized what I said.
That's a euphemism.
I'm joined today by Hitzel.
Hey, what's up?
I have Black Sword D2, or Black or Blake, or whatever you want to call him.
Yo.
And also, the resident Australian in this cast today, we have Alecat Mew, or Alecat.
Howdy.
All right, so just to start things off really quick, who are you, Alecat? Because I feel like...
Why are you here? Who lets you in?
Because I feel like no one knows anything about the Australian scene. Like, you have this, like, thriving thing going on all the time, and I feel like no one knows about it somehow. Like, you guys ran an event where people got flown out to E3 in person, and no one knew what happened. Like, I had to actually...
FLPC just found a bunch of pedestrians and...
I feel like this is like three questions and also some quite ribbing about how awful Australia is.
No, I'm not talking about the internet. Let's be real here, okay?
So I'm like one of the TOs from the Australian scene. One of the initial ones. More recently, there've been some others who've come on and picked up all the slack where I've been lazy. But basically, I ran the first tournament after my squad mates were like, "There's no Australia tournaments on when we're awake," and I got sick of. Actually, before I even joined the squad, I saw this person called Rose94 complaining on Reddit. There's never any tournaments.
Really? People were complaining about tournaments on Reddit?
That's when you know it's a problem.
Over a year. Reddit hadn't quite gotten as casual. Anyway, so somehow I ended up on her squad, and then somehow we both found out that we actually both live in the same city, but that was just coincidental because everyone on the internet that's Australian just coincidentally ends up being from your city. That's just how it works, even though there's no Australians out there.
Good to know. So,
yeah, we ended up in a tournament, and somehow, because the scene here is not that big, we became the only place where people hang out. I'm sure there's other places where people hang out, but you know,
in general, there's got to be some other locations.
So what was the name of the first tournament you ran?
Okay, so we ran. It was called Oceanik Offensive.
Yeah, we know that all too well, as it was the only tournament we could enter, because as me being in USA and Blake being me being in Canada and Blake being in USA. Sorry, we got those roles reversed there.
Not we.
Me. The issue was, we couldn't play in tournaments that weren't later than like 10 o'clock at night, and Oceanik Offensive just happened to fit our time because we were on like an inverse schedule from everyone else. So we appreciated those tournaments. We didn't care about the lag. We were like, damn, we can play.
Yeah. Well, we only had like 4 Australian teams for that first tournament, and I think it was like almost a 30 bracket. So there were definitely a lot of people. We were like the first. Well, we ran that in that time slot because no one else was doing it. Maybe there was like one that started at 5 a.m. for us, which was almost acceptable. But since then, that time slot's become quite popular. So we're happy about that, and that's why we've been slack and not really running so many tournaments lately.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I think a lot of us running our tournament came from Oceanik Offensive too, because we saw that we could we played in Oceanik and we had no problem. We thought it was like some of the best tourneys because it was just like had a same type of people coming to it, right? So when we made Black and Spoon, we were like, oh, we could do this time slot, like Oceanik Offensive did it. Like we can easily run it a late night. And also I felt like a lot of the Australian teams appreciated it too. I know that Toad Seeley was like super happy about it because he was like, oh my god, I can enter all these tournaments. So yeah, well, I think in some way we helped the Australian community unintentionally. To be completely honest, we didn't think about it at all.
We didn't want to help the
but
Australian
after the fact we were like, oh, this is a good idea. Of course we thought about Australia.
Yeah. Next time, don't run them on Friday mornings when I'm at work. Like, it's just me sitting at work with the stream open, being really sad that I can't play. Because, like, basically, because we've been running tournaments, I never
much
played.
torture.
Yeah.
So, getting into that though, so you started out as as like an online stream, as the Oceanic Offensive, but more or less, Australia is known for kind of its like, I don't want to say inclusive, but I mean it has to be inclusive because it's a LAN event. Like no one's gonna fly out to Australia to go to a LAN event. Well, no, they can if it's really, really, really big. But I mean, like you have like this fostered community of like a dozen or more players, I'd say, right? Maybe a bit more. At the LAN events, at least.
We'll talk about AEL a bit later, but we've had pretty consistent attendance across Sydney and Adelaide. So Adelaide's a much smaller city. We're like 1 million people, sort of, in a very large place. So yeah, we got about a dozen people regularly at Adelaide LANs. And for the Sydney ones, we've been having about the first one 7 teams and the second one 8 teams. And actually, you did say no one would fly out. One of my squad mates came from New Zealand for that LAN, and we've had another 3 people come over from Adelaide. So
wow. So wait, just for curiosity, how much is a ticket? Let's say from New Zealand to Australia.
Like 400 or something.
What? Are you
Something
serious?
like Australian. So that would be what, like $20 American.
Oh, okay. You're talking in oh yeah, sorry, Australian money. Sorry about that. It's like talking about Canadian money and U.S. money. Talk about Canadian money. Everyone thinks it's highway robbery, and then you're like, oh, in U.S. that's nothing. Okay. But yeah, so about 8 to you said about 8 teams, so that's like 32 people, about.
Yeah, and some more than that. So we had spectators as well come along. I'm not sure how many people brought friends along, but there probably were like maybe 40 or so people in the room. I'm pretty sure that Hero's in the chat. Maybe he can remember it better than I can.
But more to that was, so how did you actually get into doing the LANs? Like, how did you say, like, from Oceanic Offensive, you're like, yeah, I'm running online, and then you're like, wanna what's a great idea? Let's just start moving into, like in-person events. And how did that start fostering? Like, how did that become so popular? Especially in Australia, because you hear about it here, like, we have our one-offs, like, you have the end game Smash and Splash, like, every 6 months or whatever it is. In Canada, we have the GTA region one that happens every couple of months, too. But that one's not heavily publicized. You know what I mean? Like, whenever I hear about LANs, like, I always hear the Australian one, which is weird because no one ever thinks about Australia, like, as the Splatoon scene, and then the LANs come along, you're like, yeah, they always have LANs, like, all the time. So it's just weird. So, yeah, explain how you got into that.
Right, so going very back to the start, you mentioned the online tournaments becoming LANs, but actually I was planning a LAN before we ran the first online tournament. I've been involved in a local anime and video games convention for quite a few years now. And
what's it called?
It's called AVCON.
Okay.
Anime Video. It actually stands for AV Connection, but everyone just says Anime Video Games Convention. Anyway, so we had a whole bunch of machines, and I was thinking about tournaments at that time, like how learning about, you know, what kind of rule sets we want to run, and we were furiously unlocking all of the stuff for these machines by hand. So 16 machines, we had to unlock all of the gear. Not all the gear, all the weapons. We were going to have base gear and all weapons. And that's like a 40-hour task per machine.
So how many people were helping you with that?
Yeah, so one of my friends, Petloaf, and a few people helped out, but it's how I became a Splattershot Junior main, because...
So how many days after that did Splat Hacks come out?
Since we're talking about it, Splat Hacks came out, I think, maybe 6 weeks before the con. So
all the work was done.
I think we had 4 consoles where like they were at level 10, but not all the money done. So there were a few that I finished off myself for pride's sake, because they were close. But yeah, we did actually end up then unlocking all of the clothing on all of them
Oh,
with the same.
wow. So you're saying that you're the first LAN to have a fully competitive clothing set?
Yeah, probably.
Organically
I
grown.
mean, we were the week before Squidstorm, so
Hey, Hitzel, why aren't you flying out to Australia right now, man?
I don't have any excuses.
Got nothing.
Do you have wired Wii U's out there to hack?
yeah. So yeah, that LAN event was run at a convention. So the environment there, a whole bunch of people came along. They didn't necessarily they weren't coming specifically for
the game.
Splatoon.
Yeah.
But we did get 8 teams out of all the attendees.
And
that
that
was pretty
first
fun.
tournament, was it a tournament or was it just like a LAN where you casually
We
played?
ran 2 events. So I ran a Splatfest where I actually built a voting booth and people could vote Magic or Mecha.
That's pretty cool, though. That's awesome.
Yeah, and we had we didn't have that many people participate in the Splatfest. We dragged a few people in, but it's a bit awkward with trying to get 4 people to come onto the machines at a time. And then I'm looking forward to running it on Switch this year. Because people will be able to pop up and maybe form a lobby themselves. So yeah, I think, and the thing that surprised me about that Splatfest, we ran, the convention's theme was Magic versus Mecha, so that was the theme of the Splatfest, and all weekend, the votes were 2 votes either way, it was alternating, and in the end, it was a 0.5% difference.
Why? Mecha is clearly the one that wins every time.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
Blake doesn't, though. I can see it in his eyes.
Yeah, there were
all about that. Those
You're a magic boy, aren't you? Yeah.
So yeah, we ran the Splatfest and some other silly games the usual stuff you do when you meet up and just want to, mess around. So tablet only shenanigans on Mahi Mahi Resort, and on the Sunday, second day of the convention, we ran the tournament. So 8 teams. And at that time, there's 2 local Adelaide teams, Double D and Haley's Comets. So they rocked up and took first and second, and it started a rivalry that has mostly waned away, kind of. Double D's got other things to concern themselves with now. But the big coup in that one was that they got Petloaf to play for Haley's Comets because I couldn't play, so it was kind of moot anyway.
So,
and the convention provided cash prizes, so that was cool too.
Oh wait, so what were the prizes on it?
I think it was $50 per player for first.
That's still not
free
bad.
download of Splat
That's
Hacks.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
So wait, how did you get all the Wii U's? Were they just your friends' Wii U's? Were they provided by the convention or?
Yeah, so the convention owned before that 8 Wii U's, and because I've been involved for so long, helping out gaming, I was like, I want to run this event. We need another 8 Wii U's to run Smash Brothers. The Smash Brothers tournament is always really big.
It always comes back to Smash Brothers.
I mean, we just piggyback back off of what Smash needs and then just use it for ourselves, so that works.
Yeah, pretty much.
It works.
I was like, we need these Wii U's for Smash Brothers, but you'll notice that there's a Splatoon bundle. We should get all of the last of those. But the stupid thing was, EB Games was selling them at $100 above RRP, so that.
Dang.
But yeah, we ended up with the 16 Wii U's owned by the convention. We borrow them every now and then, suck up to them for the outside LAN events. So after AvCon and we'd run a few online tournaments, we ran the first event where we tried to get people to come for Splatoon. And that was a couple months later. And we turned up at a PC LAN. They ran their PCs off to one side. We ran our consoles on one side, and together with Smash Brothers players, we had tiny round robin in Adelaide.
So none of the PC and console guys made eye contact, right? That would not.
No, that never happened.
Okay, just making sure.
So that was pretty cool. We meanwhile we were planning this, and the other states were like, "What is Adelaide doing? They are tiny. What do they think? What do they think they're trying to achieve? Because we know that they're small. Why can't we have this?" So I saw people from Melbourne, Perth, and Sydney were all sort of saying this, but it so happened that Bicky Bird and Hero were both from Sydney, and they had this sort of drive. They didn't know each other before, running into each other on the Oceanik server. But Hero said, I play Smash. One of the groups has a monthly at this place called the Nerd Cave. It's a net cafe. And they run this thing called Great Cave Offensive, because that's from Smash Brothers. They've got, or from Kirby, whatever it is. I'm a real nerd, okay?
You're in a safe space.
So they managed to go just to the one the month, I think the September Smash Brothers event, to just check out the venue. And they were like, yeah, let's do this. So the next month they collaborated, and I think it was within 4 weeks they'd gone from, hey, we should do this, to the LAN happened. And so Bicky Bird was, and Hero, both of them, really huge for us. Being in Sydney, which is a bigger city, helped a lot. Bicky Bird had the tenacity to contact Nintendo.
Tenacity, huh?
Yeah. Everyone else knocked out. But yeah, we hadn't really tried contacting Nintendo before. I guess I'm a little bit older and jaded from running events and having the whole communication chain and whatnot. But,
actually, just before we get to that, how did Bicky bring into Nintendo? Was he just like,
she
what's up?
A snail mail letter.
A what? Sorry?
There is no email address. Pardon?
What did she send? Sorry?
A snail mail letter.
Oh,
so
my
she called
God.
Hey, I've got an event, and they were like, just send us a letter. So she sent them a letter, and they obviously liked what she said. And I think they contacted her pretty quickly in response. So she secured caps and cool merch that was given away at that first Sydney LAN. And so Hero and Bicky Bird, a lot of that first LAN came out of their pockets, but it was also shared costs with the Sydney LAN, so it sort of kind of broke even. And that's sort of just been the goal, to break even on those events.
Yeah, and then since then, have you guys been I feel like your relationship with Nintendo in the Australian area, like Oceanik, has been really good. You've been in contact with them since every LAN since then, right?
Yeah, most of them. The contacts we have there are really nice. They reply really quickly, but they can't give us the world.
Obviously.
When they send us stuff, it's, you can say that we're supporting you, but we are not sponsoring you. And I think Bicky Bird got a call at 8 o'clock one night when one of our posts said sponsored by Nintendo, and they said, could you just not say that? So, yeah, they've been pretty good. And then when it came time for the Switch reveal, we got invited over to Melbourne to try out Splatoon 2. So we're part of their marketing machine, basically. They see us
free labor
here in Australia because Nintendo Australia has very little latitude to do their own thing.
I think anyone outside of Nintendo Japan has very little latitude. Even Nintendo America has barely any.
The products we get are what Europe gets, but then we have to reply to, Nintendo Australia has to reply to America and Europe whenever it, has to do things.
Okay.
So, and I heard a rumor that they were even caught by surprise with some of the recent product releases. So,
they had to consult the council.
That might just be people trying to make fun of Nintendo. So, whatever.
Oh my God, the Switch is releasing. What are we gonna do? They didn't mention it to us.
Really nice that they invited us over to try Splatoon 2. We tried to do our part and rant and rave about how great the game was. One of the other you might have noticed we haven't been really running many online events lately.
Yeah, it's been all LANs from what we've seen. Like every time I see you guys, it's always just a local LAN, and it seems like you guys are really just trying to keep
Pretty
it contained.
selfish.
Yeah, you guys are just trying to keep it like more LAN based, and you're trying to promote it. I think you're one of the few tournaments where I look at it and go, you guys are actually building a competitive scene in Australia as opposed to just like a social event. Because all the ones in Canada are social events because we just don't have the people. Well, not so much the people, it's that Canada's too big. Like, it's just too massive. If I wanted to go to British Columbia and they had a LAN event there, I'd have to drive for 3 days. Like, and a flight is $890 Canadian. Like, I can't do that,
Which
you
is
know?
like $40 American, but still.
That exchange rate's really good right now, Hitzel. But yeah, basically we just can't. Like, look, like it's too big, it's too much. There's not enough of a community, let's say in Montreal, and in Toronto, it's big enough to have a social event, not enough to have like 8 teams compete at a competitive level. But I feel like in Australia, you guys have found like this kind of like niche where you have enough teams to kind of create this internal rivalry with each other and like this actual competition going. Where you're creating an Australian scene that none of us have been able to do yet. It's like very closed off though. Like we don't know too much about it, but I know that it feels like the most competitive. So yeah. So
at the LANs, it's interesting you mentioned that, you know, it's competitive. It really is a social event, but because like it's actually the other side of the coin. We're such a small scene that we put on an event and someone goes, I like Splatoon. And it's not like, hey, can you make it a casual event? It's like, oh my goodness, that's the only event that I could go to, like, for Splatoon. I better go there. So we do have a lot of people turn up that, you know, we see them at the LAN. They are usually actually, they're not that competitive, but they'll play in the tournament and they'll have fun. And then we won't see them on the Discord. One of the teams that came to both tournaments, their players have just turned up in the Discord more recently. So it's that sort of environment where we actually do all go for, you know, have a social fun time. The most recent one was really good just to catch up with people. I got to meet my squad mate, Kioma from New Zealand for the first time. That was awesome. Well, actually, it was the second because he came over for the Switch thing as well. But yeah.
All right. So,
I gotta ask, how often do these LANs actually happen? Just for everybody who isn't aware of the Australian scene, which should be all our viewers.
Adelaide's been sort of every 2 months. We didn't have the one last month because we were at AEL. Sydney was, I think, was intended for every 3 months, but life for the Sydney TOs has gotten a bit busier. They're both doing PhDs. Also, Australia has like 5 PhD/PhD candidates in the Splatoon community. So get on our level, international community.
Wow.
So
it's okay. I'm dumb as well, but those guys are smart.
So I guess my next question is so how is the actual event where everyone won Switches and got flown out to E3 or are getting flown out to E3? Like, how did that event come to be overall? And how was it? Like, what was the environment like? Did it feel more competitive to you? Like, what did Nintendo do in terms of the LAN? Because it felt like the most... I would say other than ESL, which like production-wise was like the best, but it felt like the most Nintendo hands-on event, I would say.
Yeah, so it's sort of like a bit of a... I had sort of been not doing much Splatoon stuff for the month leading up to when this thing got announced, and then suddenly Bicky Bird started posting links to like, hey, esports Splatoon. This looks pretty cool. Who are these people? And then the server opened or whatever, and I saw, no, actually, it was just before it opened. Bicky Bear was like, I've actually been talking with these guys, because she was our main point of contact for Nintendo. So Nintendo had passed her on to AEL as like a community point of contact.
And just so people know, you are AEL. You are part of AEL, correct?
No, we're not. So we were sort of like contractors, sort of like we just brought the game knowledge. Yeah. So on the day we wore AEL shirts and stuff, but AEL has experience outside of Splatoon. They run esports events for your usual like CS:GO or whatever.
Yeah.
They have a bit of history with League of Legends, you know, salaried teams, that sort of thing. But they formed AEL they've run a few events, and it seemed all quite very quickly put together. But to their credit, like, they'd done a really good job. So we were on the phone with them, I think, Monday night. Oh, we'd signed NDAs. Tuesday, we were like looking over their rule sets, and they're not Splatoon players, but they'd assembled the rule sets from what they'd found through research, and I think they started that research on Thursday. They had a really solid rules document, and it was just things like, do we allow double Zimmy? Yeah, sure, why not? You know, just because, yeah, it's gone out of fashion in Japanese turf war. Okay. And there was a couple of artifacts from them having experience with other competitive games. Like, the rule set said swap hosts every round. And we left that in the end, but we sort of said that's going to slow down rounds tons. We'll probably end up having one host throughout. Yeah. And most teams worked it out between them what they wanted to do. So after that, yeah, so the guys at AEO are really great. We mostly interacted with two of them, but it's a much larger team. Mm-hmm. And they basically did for Nintendo, like, they provided the production, like, there was film taken of the event and all that sort of thing that they did. And they actually flew us out to Melbourne to assist with the grand finals. Awesome. So Nintendo flew out, Nintendo flew out the players, AEL flew us out because we pretended to be experts. So the actual AEL event, that was our region's Nintendo-sponsored event where, as you said, the finalists get to go to E3. So we didn't really know how many teams we were going to get, and I think that was a double-edged sword because we didn't know how many teams we were going to get. We didn't know what format. The AEL guys were really hesitant to confirm it, even though we had contingencies in place for all the different team sizes. But they were really hesitant to lock down, you know, are people going to be needed for 4 days over 2 weekends, 2 days? Are they going to get, you know, which pools they're going to be in? So that was maybe caused some teams to not sign up when they could have played. But we did get, in the end, 22 teams. Okay. And it sounds small, but I did the maths, and that's actually more players per capita than you guys got for your tournament.
Ooh.
I mean, 22 teams at a live event is a lot. I'm not gonna.
That's actually a lot.
So online qualifiers happened over 2 weekends. So we did 22 down to top 8, and then we did top 8 down to the top 2, and then Nintendo flew out those top 2 teams.
Oh, okay, I see. So, I guess, well, we all know the blue-ringed Octolings won against Scarth Ace, so we don't get to see FLC, unfortunately.
FLC was playing for them.
Oh, he was playing for Riptide. We don't get to see Scarth. Sorry, we don't get to see Scarth. Oh my god. But yeah, we do get to see all the people on Blue Ring Octolings, at least me and Blake, and Hitzel. Oh yeah, Hitzel too. Sorry, Hitzel, I forgot you were coming with us. We're gonna see all of them. We'll try and get interviews with them. We'll try and communicate with them. You hear me, Blue Ring Octolings, if you're watching. We're gonna get some interviews out of you.
You can't escape.
I'll buy you a little plushie kangaroo for you.
That's all right.
We got this.
They've done the most embarrassing interviews for the AEL thing. Like, they made them do poses, and like Nintendo sent them a survey to fill out, but they didn't tell them what the survey was going to be used for. But they turned up as like player interviews on the Nintendo Australia website, and all the players were like, "Oh my god, I didn't realize this was how it was going to be used."
Did they also have all the stuff like, what's your favorite food and stuff?
Yeah, a bit of that. Yeah. So yeah, both those interviews are on the Nintendo Australia website. So Scarface and Blue Ring Documents.
Yeah, I've read them. I thought they were pretty cool. My other question is what's for the future of the Australian Splatoon scene with Splatoon 2 coming out? Like, what kind of plans do you have going forward? Do you plan to try and grow it a little bit further, or are you trying to keep it still trying to foster that community within Australia?
Oh, I wanted to actually talk about the finals, but that's fine.
Well, actually, if you want, go into the finals. Talk about the finals. I have no problem with that, but I do expect the answer later. I mean.
Yeah, so we were talking about the qualifiers. We ran like unofficial streams for it because like we asked them, "Hey, can we run a stream?" And they were like, "We're not going to say no." So we ran a stream. And Toad, you mentioned Toad before. He's actually living in France now. So he woke up at 2 a.m. to help me commentate those, which was a godsend.
He lives in France? Really?
He's currently in France.
Oh, man. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he's getting dicked around by time zones a lot. Because now we run events and he's like, I can't play with you guys. So, anyway, so him being in France, he couldn't play for any of the teams. So we roped him in to do commentary. Or, it was really great having him there for that. We ended up, so it was a double elimination bracket for the top 8, but finals day, there's no bracket reset. So Scarface and Blue Ring Doctorlings played a best of 9. They had map picking. It was actually quite funny doing the map picking. Like, the team would look at Latias and go, okay, we're not going to pick Moray Towers. We're not going to pick. So it went all the way to game 9. And the first 4 games, each team won their map pick. Scarface effectively, broke service. Like tennis. I don't know if you guys play tennis in North America.
That sounds like sports ball. I don't really.
Yeah, sports ball. Sorry.
Tennis.
Yeah. So Scarface game 5, and then they won their next map pick. So basically, they were sitting on a 4-2 lead. They need to get one more game, and the Blue Ring Doctorlings came next game. They won. Scarface weren't too bust at that point. It was like, yeah, okay, we'll get them next time. Next game was Tower Control and Piranha Pit, and they just went in guns blazing, pushed it all the way to 9 or 30 or something in the first push, in that sort of region where it starts snowballing. And then they won on Hammerhead Bridge, and that was it. It was actually really electric in that room. It was a really weird room setup as well. The AEL guys, actually, when we arrived there, because Nintendo had arranged the room and the venue hire, and one room
the TVs were on the ceiling. You had
yeah, pretty much. Splatoon 2 demos where it was the version 1 demo, so roller with curling bomb, all that sort of thing. The second room was 2 rows of TVs facing each other, like we have at casual LANs. But the AEL guys have been expecting, when you have a proper competitive LAN, they should be next to each other and we can put our camera down this way, all that sort of thing. And then the audience could stand right behind the players. And it was a little bit weird. And I did commentary for it, but AEL had brought a whole bunch of mics, but the house, the venue's audio system only supported their house mic, one mic. So when I was stuck on commentary and needed my secondary commentary person, it was I had to pass the mic up and then so I pulled in Nikasar to help me commentate, because it was just this is really different from usual. I can't talk about so and so's got their special ready. I can't talk about who's flanking, because there's the potential that the players might hear in this room. So it was sort of
yeah, Squidstorm was like that.
yeah, pretty much like that. And then the plays that were coming, we did have the 8 input setup, and we had Hero on control doing observer stuff. So he would tell one of the production guys, hey, cue this up, and then they'd put it up. But I didn't know which player they were going to swap to, and I didn't know
And you don't know the names because it says player 1, player 2, right?
It actually didn't, because we had only 2 teams.
Oh, they already put the players' names.
They put the players' names on, and that was really cool. But I'm quite familiar with Bro's lineup, so it was easy for me to commentate them. I didn't do so well with Scarface. They usually brought 2 splatter shots, but basically the commentary, flipping back and forth, we've experimented with that ourselves before, but it was just a very different environment, and I hope my commentary never reaches the light of day. But
well, it will. Apparently, Nintendo hasn't released that footage, but we'll see at E3. Maybe they're. I have a feeling. To be honest, I have a feeling.
Here's the highlight reel of.
Yeah, I have a feeling they're planning something with all the events, because they've kept your footage and they've asked us for footage and they've asked, I'm sure, ESL for footage. So there's something going on with those. So we will maybe hear your casting there, Ale. or Alecat, sorry.
No, they'll just put music over the top. I'm sure that'd be good.
So
only for yours.
So what about the future of the Australian League? This is kind of a question from Hydrus and kind of what we were going into. So I'll give credit to both. Credit to Hydrus for thinking of it, but credit to us for thinking of it too. So a little bit of a loaded question is: what's the future of the Australian scene, and what do you think can be developed over time? How do you think you can improve it?
So we do kind of want to hit the ground running for Splatoon 2, but we've talked a lot about that and not really done much. Splatoon 2 comes out the day of AvCon 2017, so way earlier. I was talking about this anime and video games convention that I was running a LAN for. Splatoon 2 is going to happen that same weekend, so we're probably going to do one last hurrah for the Wii U game at the con and then run like the Splatfest on Switch.
Okay.
But we don't
download the digital copy onto the Switches at the event.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to be fair, if they were actually at the con, that'd be amazing because it's the start of the game and it gets like that casual viewer interested in it. So that's a really good opportunity. Definitely. Yeah.
And like you talked about us fostering a competitive community. Like we are the competitive side of Australian Splatoon, but we do have a lot of people who do just want to play for fun.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The Australian community, like. There's a couple of big places, like we actually have a Facebook page where a lot of fans are. Australia's like small enough that you can run a Facebook page for a fandom and it doesn't like just explode. And the guy who runs that is amazing. He like sets up events whenever we're streaming or you guys are streaming, or like he's got his finger on the pulse. So people, get that, hey, event is on, do you want to go?
What's his name so we can shout him out?
I actually don't know if he wants.
Oh, you only know his real. Oh, it's Facebook, so it's only real names. Sorry, we don't have to shout him out.
All these real people.
His handle as well, but last time I linked his handle to his real name, he was like, "It's a secret."
Okay, no, that's fine. I don't need to know his real name. I thought it was his handle. I'm sorry.
Well, his handle I can probably tell you. He's Dark Fox, and he I should just recruit him onto the crew because he's really good, but he's really good on his own. So,
cool.
Anyway, he's been keeping that side, like a whole bunch of people on Facebook who just peripherally like follow Splatoon, that they're not playing anymore, or they still like the world and the characters. Like they'll tune into our cast and that sort of thing because he posts there to say, "Hey, thing is happening." So he's been a big part of the scene, even though he's like no one competitively outside of Australia knows him. So shout out to Dark Fox,
cool,
who's a night shift worker, so he may be tuning in. I don't know.
So I guess before we wrap up everything to do with Australia, so is there anything past that point that you're already planning of, or? And like I said, do you think you're going to stick it more just to keep it within Australia, or are you going to try and expand a bit further?
Well, we'll keep to Australia for now, but we'll probably start running some more international events. We stopped running international events because like no one understands the lag mechanics except for us. We deal with them constantly, but people don't understand how latency is resolved in Splatoon, and they like playing as an Australian and having international players come to your tournament and be like, everyone's laggy, and we're like, no, that's normal.
Welcome to Australia.
Yeah.
Internet connection at 0.01.
Yeah. So I mean that's partly why we like to run LANs, because then we can have good not need to rely on that internet. We learned a lot about how networking in the game works. Like we know that you can run a LAN on a 0.6 meg system and it sends all the traffic locally because we had to do that once.
Yeah.
And
go ahead, continue. Sorry.
Yeah. So we've been wanting for a while to run like some boot camps or something, because a lot of the players, like our scene, you'll know about some Australian players, like you mentioned Scarth, you mentioned FLC, Toad, and other players on Scarth Ace, like Siki,
Have you met FLC in real life?
No, I haven't. He lives in Queensland.
Oh my god, no one's met him yet.
He was in the crowd with like a cloak on, just no one knew.
Yeah, he's just this ominous being. No one knows who FLC is, but we all want to meet him.
Yeah,
you
were
know,
talking about like flying across America. You know, America is about the same width as Australia, and we have a tenth of your population. Like, the distance.
Because we don't have the crazy, dangerous stuff.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I was about to say, how many people died on their way to the land convention?
Every square 100 kilometers.
Those giant spiders with those webs and shit. I can't deal with that. I've watched the Discovery Channel. I know what's on there.
Does Australia have bears, actually? Do you guys have bears?
Got bears.
They're poisonous bears in Australia, Hitzel.
Poisonous bears. Okay.
That's what
They're like
Australia...
koalas.
Venomous bears.
Yeah, they're like vampire koalas.
Bear soup eels or something like that.
Oh, drop bears?
That's right. Australian scene, we have a lot of teams that, like, all Australian teams, there weren't that many. So Bro is the oldest one, and they're actually massive. So the 4 players that are going to E3 are basically the only 4 players that were over the age of 17. But they're like a family, like a clan of like 20 or so players.
Okay.
And then other than that, like, there weren't a lot of, even my squad is half American. And it's because of the AEL tournament that just happened that some more pure Australian squads are coming out. All those players that I mentioned earlier, you know them because they were willing to wake up at 2 a.m. to play in international tournaments.
Yeah.
Whereas a whole team of Australians willing to wake up at 2 a.m., a little bit harder. Some of us did it. But in that way, like, some of our players trend a little bit older, I think, than other regions, because to have the freedom to wake up at 2 a.m. is something. Yeah. Yeah, so for that, we're sort of thinking, can we get the more experienced players to help coach up some of these new squads that have just formed, and they are all, like, they're starting to form all Australian squads. And just tonight, actually, we're trying to interact a little more with the Japanese scene, because they're basically on the same time zone as us.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, so tonight we had like 3 teams, ended up being 2 because one had to drop out, actually participate in a turf war tournament. And it was like a turf war tournament for teams that never reached S+. So everyone was like, yes, we must play in this one. It's perfect. And, one of our teams came 3rd. So, we're pretty happy with that, because up until now, the meme for that team was that they was come 5th. So, and we actually did run, after AEL, a 5th place playoff just for them. Very special.
Nice. All right, so final question, and then we'll get right into the next topic. So this is from the boss, and he says, what would you say, why is the Oceanic community largely separated from Europe and America counterparts? If so, what do you think are the ways that can be changed? I know you brought up a couple of things, but just bring up, what do you think are like the big points of it? I mean, I could already think of a couple myself, but I figured someone from Australia themselves is probably better to answer it. So
yeah, sure. So we talked about internet and just latency, but also our internet, apart from latency, is actually quite bad. So when people call us out for being bad at internet, we are going to fail the speed test, or, that was something that tournaments started implementing a long time ago, and that's why we love Black and Spoon. But
no shout outs here.
The Telegram internet works.
We know, like, it is physically impossible for a lot of Australia to meet that 1 megabit upload requirement, because we're still all on awful copper. So when people go, oh, hey, they're a bit laggy, and it was just because of the ping distance, we would inevitably fail the speed test. So that's number 1. Time zones, like, when you guys are all talking about, like, Squid Colosseum or, like, whatever drama, we are asleep. We've missed it.
Don't give a shit.
You're like, all this stuff is happening. There's fires everywhere, and Australia's just sleeping soundly. They wake up in the morning, like, oh, what a lovely day it is today. I didn't see anything.
I've basically gathered what Squid Colosseum is through FLC's tweets. But
oh no, I don't know if that's the best.
So wait, are you trying to say that FLC is your interpreter for the rest of the world at this point? Is this confirmed on our podcast?
It's like, we gather things from, like, people are talking about a thing. Okay, maybe a thing happened. And, like, you guys know, I'm ostensibly on Looty staff, and every season I say, hey, I'm going to help out more. But I log in the morning and there's 500 messages and I go, oh God, I can't deal with this. Goodbye. So some of the Americans who have started hanging out on our server have started experiencing this because we talk a lot during our day through to maybe 2 a.m. and they log on and go, what the hell, you guys talk a lot? And we're like, we talk barely at all compared to you guys. So yeah, we miss out on a lot of stuff. And because the Splatoon community is so like chat based in Discord and stuff, when there is when there is stuff being found out and it's just in the chat 500 messages up, we miss that.
All right.
So in order to get a good accurate worldview, you head to Twitter.
See what Twitlongers posted today about the community.
I think I'll follow this guy, Mario92.
I feel like in Australia, though, you probably have like a better summary of it, you know, because we're in the microcosm of it happening in real time. We're watching the fire explode and all the houses burn down and the apocalypse has happened. You guys are living in the post-apocalypse, and you can just summarize it to people who are wandering by, and they're like,
according to the
they're like, hey, Alecat, I've been walking 500 miles. What's been happening? And you're just like, Squid Coliseum.
For the record, I'm in the Squid Coliseum. I played a few matches, and I have like Discord give me like a notification whenever the scoreboard updates at work, and then I real quick just kind of like go take a look at who's in voice chat and what's going on. And for the most place, that place is like pretty docile. Like it's pretty quiet. There's like a bunch of memes in chat. Everybody will just kind of play some games. Everybody doesn't care, and everybody logs off. And then Twitter's like, "These guys, I know what's going on there. It's bad. No, get rid of it. Bad." And Lee's just like, "Make the bot, man." Like,
all right. So I guess that wraps up Australia. That was a great finish, but thank you everyone for your questions. Thank you for Alecat for opening some light on the Australian scene. Sounds really awesome. Wish I could fly down to Australia one time. Highly doubt it, as it's very far from me.
If you guys want to come in and talk about how bad internet is, talk about more about, you know, how the history, because we basically touched on a whole bunch of points. There's like memes hidden underneath that. Like people think we're serious, but we now have our own meme team. So we're a little less humorless than before. So yeah, pop in our chat on Discord. If you go to Oceanik Squids, the Twitter account, we've got a link there.
All right.
I have one last question.
Yeah,
about Australia.
Oh yes.
So in Salmon Run, because I'm kind of assuming that Splatoon's supposed to take place in like post-apocalyptic Japan. When they super jump across the ocean, are they going to like Sydney to get the salmon?
I don't know whether I saw anything. I don't know if there's any salmon in Sydney Harbour, but I wouldn't be surprised. Like, mostly people just get like crappy carp, I think. I don't live in Sydney, so I don't know what their vermin fish are.
Gotcha.
Vermin fish.
Salmon, vermin fish.
Is that what they're actually
guys.
called there?
Pardon?
Is that what they're actually
not called?
Okay,
no.
The rat of the ocean.
All right, so we'll get into the next thing. So we just watched a Nintendo Direct, and we watched the single-player trailer, talking about all the stuff with Callie, well, mostly Marie, and a couple of cool little details about the single-player and potential future things for the game. So I don't know, who wants to kick it off? Who wants to start about things that they're excited about with the single-player?
I hope that some of...
Oh, okay. The new zipline mechanic. Holy crap! I hope that's very much in the
multiplayer. Oh my god!
Yeah, from Moray Towers, being able to grind on the zip lines and
Did you
shoot
play Sonic
while,
Adventure 2 by any chance?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Oh yeah, it's Sonic Adventure 2 mixed with that Sonic game that we don't speak of with guns. It's just that mashed together and then made Splatoon. I'm all about it.
Yeah,
I'm super excited for that mechanic.
I like how you took a topic about single player and immediately made it about multiplayer.
Oh yeah. We only play the single player to make sure it happens in multiplayer. Clearly.
Oh yeah. I mean, honestly, though, we only have so much of the single player because it's more of an ad teaser. But I am super excited and can't wait to see all of the other mechanics because I imagine with the new zipline mechanic there'll be new sponge mechanics, there'll be new fan mechanics, the whole single player experience where they had those neat little one-off things that we never got to see in multiplayer. Come back in a new fashion and maybe even come back as new multiplayer maps with that introduction with the zipline.
Because they started doing that when they made the new maps in Splat 1. They were like, okay, let's mess with some of this stuff. Like they added like the conveyor belts, which they were only in single player, the fans and stuff. So hopefully that means that every map will have something that makes everybody upset.
Every map is anchovy.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty excited about a couple of the things with the weapons themselves. Can we please bring up the P90? Look, come on, guys. Yeah. The P90. We're getting full esports here. They're putting in real guns in the game.
That was the little toss out for esports. Like, hey, we're a serious esports game. You can tell because you actually recognize this gun.
So like. I think that what that gun is I think that in multiplayer, that's going to be the hero shot. But in single player, like, you remember how in Splat 1 you could upgrade your guns and stuff like that?
Yeah. I
have a feeling that thing's going to be so customizable to the point where it won't even be recognizable as a splatter shot anymore in single player. But in multiplayer, I'm going to use it. And I just hope that any of those hero replica weapons are viable, like in multiplayer, like. The Splatling looks sick. It's like all chromed out and stuff. Oh, yeah. Like it looks like it's like someone took like a grill, like propane tank, and just spray painted it perfectly silver and was like, just stick this on here. I'm gonna kill someone with it. And like the blaster looks sick.
Like the Splatling.
Yeah, like I don't know.
Single player campaign with Splatlings, with buckets, brushes, and blasters. Oh, it's gonna be fun. Because it looks like. Go ahead.
Yeah, do you reckon the maps are going to be tailored to the weapon, or you'll be able to complete any map with any weapon?
I guess I'll start. Oh no, you start, Blake. Sorry, no, go. You go. You go first. So sorry.
Right. I kind of got the feeling that it's more of, so it's one campaign, and you have the option of calling down certain weapons at certain times. So you will start going through and there'll be a case where, all right, I really need to use a brush for this, or all right, I need to use a Splatling in this case. And it'll be kind of that more swapping weapons out, which if that's the case where you don't have to, that's going to open up a lot of neat things for, I'm not quite sure if the speedrunning community would get into it, but definitely more solo player focused streams and content of, brush only single player campaign and just grind through the entire thing, even though there's parts where it's like, really can't use a brush here to get it done. But you find a way, and that'll be a lot of very interesting content.
Well, I don't really know if there's much that's like impossible to do with certain weapons. Like I could see some secret areas that are like, this wall can only be painted by a charger or something like that. Like you have to like jump off the level and just have it perfectly painted with a charger from afar or something like that. But I can't really see much where it's like, if you don't have a slosher here, sorry, pack it up, hit the reset button, because you're not getting, like, I don't really see that happening unless it's like a Zelda puzzle where you have to use like the fall off damage. But I can't really see that being part of the level design. I feel like it'll be hopefully you can choose what weapon you want. Like that would be cool if it's actually just straight up like you get to choose whatever weapon you want to play through all the levels with, like whichever one you like, you can play. And then the specials are kind of like oh, here's a random like Missile or Splashdown, like what they showed. I don't know, because I also think that it would just be nice for like new players to kind of gravitate towards a certain weapon, and then they can like start out multiplayer with that.
Actually, that's what I was thinking.
That would make sense.
Yeah, I was thinking that I was gonna go. You could play the maps and with whichever weapon you want, and they'll make it based on that. Like I feel like there's a foundation of the first one where like everyone who's a veteran of the game will just breeze through that game. So I feel like they're going to create every single weapon, so that way people who, let's say, aren't as familiar, like I don't play brush. Maybe I'll play brush in single player, though, just because, So I think that they
Instead
have
of
a
making a new account and trouncing noobs.
So yeah, I feel like there's a foundation. And like I said, I think they'd want to do it with every weapon, so that way, like you said, newcomers can come in and they can experience it with different type of weapons. Also, I don't think This is not a ditch to Nintendo. I just think this is like just how like game development will kind of work. I don't think that they're going to go out of their way to create that much, considering the cycle that they had of like 2 years to make another one.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't think that they've changed enough of the systems to be like, oh man, we're really going to change up the whole map design and everything. So I feel like it's going to be the same map, just maybe a little bit different depending on the weapons, and you kind of play it that way. But yeah, I'm super stoked about all the new weapons. If they upgrade those weapons, like if you can upgrade all of the weapons, that's amazing. Like, imagine a Splatling with even faster fire rate, faster charge up time.
The Zimmy Hydra Splatling.
Yeah, it's like a Hydra that charges like a Zimmy and shoots faster than a Zimmy. Think about how
That'll
awesome
teach you how
that
to play
is.
Hydra in multiplayer. Go for it.
I mean,
Try that online.
clearly. I mean, it's like the training wheels. You take the training wheels off and then you die a lot, and then you just learn from there.
I mean, that is an interesting point, because I think they did say that they sort of had an intent for the campaign to get you accustomed to weapons for multiplayer. So are the upgrades going to be in that same nature as the first game?
Mm-hmm. One thing I do hope that they do, though, is they hope that they expand on like the challenge levels that came from amiibos in Splat 1. Like, I don't know what they do with amiibos differently in Splat 2 to make it so the challenges are part of the normal game, but I thought that like the limited ink challenge was like the funnest experience I had with the game. Like, it wasn't even that hard, but it felt really fun. So if they did something where you can come back and play through all the levels on like different challenges and stuff like that, I think it would be cool for like the speedrunning community and stuff like that too. But I think that from just like a me owning a video game perspective, like, yeah, I'm going to be playing mostly multiplayer and I'll play some Salmon Run because it looks cool. But I'd go back to the single player and have some fun with it if there was a bunch of like hard modes and stuff like that. And even if they release them as DLC over time, like if they're releasing new Salmon Run content and new maps and new modes for multiplayer and stuff like that, if they release new challenge levels for single player every once in a while, where it's just the exact same levels, but they'd introduce some kind of limitation or something like that, I think that would be pretty cool too. And I think it wouldn't be too out of line with what they do or too much work or whatever, but it would make a big difference for us, like as casual single player players.
Yeah, actually, I already have it planned out because I take the metro to work every day, right? So I have like about a good hour of like transportation. So I've been playing that's what I play my Switch on. I haven't put it in docked mode for about 2 months now. I've just been playing in portable on the bus. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play Splatoon single player on my bus rides. And then I'm going to do Salmon Run when I want to do...
What if you could do Salmon Run? Yeah.
No, Salmon Run's not gonna. No. Single player will be all my shit for the Metro ride. I'm gonna get home. Gotcha. My viewer battle stuff is going to be Salmon Run, because like you don't want to like put all the new people with like competitive pros and just destroy them, right?
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good point.
Yeah, the way I see Salmon Run as for us is like people who are streaming is like, hey, come play Salmon Run. I'll invite 4 of you in. You get to play with me, and then we get to enjoy ourselves playing against like hordes of enemies, right? I feel like it's more
until
casual.
Everybody figures it out and everybody gets mad. Like, no, you're not doing the right strategy.
Yeah, but at least for what I have now is like I don't think of that as a competitive mode. So for me, like my mindset is there to be like that's full casual. Like to me in my head is like I can invite viewers and I won't get mad and I'll be fine, right? And then like when I play multiplayer, that's more the competitive. I mean, you never know. I might get into competitive Salmon Run, you know? Maybe make a tournament about it, but we'll see.
Oh, we could have leaderboards, yeah.
Leaderboards, Salmon Run leaderboards.
You guys can...
Dude, I hope
I'm sure that will...
canon leaderboards.
And then
just
we'll
be able
come...
to see with your friends.
Yeah. And what we're going to call it, the row boards for Salmon Row. Anyways, the top egg. Okay, so a little bit past just the weapon stuff, because we only got a really small teaser, and obviously we're all stoked about the weapons, but we know nothing about them. What do you guys think about the story? I know the story is not like on all our minds as we play multiplayer, but I'm sure we've enjoyed the first single player. So what do you guys think about the story mode of this one? What do you think is going to happen?
I think it's a little bit too similar to the first game story, like.
But we don't even know what the story is. Oh, I haven't read any of them. Like so please enlighten me.
Oh, so like in Squid Sisters Chapter 7, they're like, Great Zapfish has gone missing again. Captain Cuttlefish hasn't been found. Like it's almost a carbon copy. Like maybe they're going to defy my expectations and go somewhere else. But it's like, we know that a whole bunch of new people have come along. We can just recycle the story, sort of thing.
I mean, that's like a Nintendo thing, though. Peach always gets captured. Zelda always gets captured, or something happens.
There's potential Callie to be a villain, maybe, or just brainwash.
So here's what I think. Okay, I'm gonna give you my insight here.
Fix your tinfoil hat.
Yeah. So Callie is actually.
If you actually got a tinfoil hat, I would have tried.
So Callie's actually a double agent. So she is pretending to be the head boss to take him down from the inside. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense, but that's just going to be my theory on it. And then we'll get playable Octolings. This is our chance for playable Octolings, guys.
We'll see. See, but I feel like they can only put in playable Octolings if they justify it in the story somehow. I don't want them to just make Octolings playable, because that's lazy.
Okay, actually, my real theory is... So what's going to happen is... So Callie actually secretly infiltrates the Octolings because there's actually a third race, even past the salmon people. And it's the sharks. And it's the rise of the sharks. And the sharks come out, and then the Octolings and the squids join together to take out the Shark Rebellion. And basically the salmon is like the Flood in Halo. They're just kind of like that third party that doesn't give a shit and just fucks everyone up.
There.
Well, I mean, it's pretty
and the salmon just kind of walk around going like...
Against Octolings.
Sorry?
Like, if Horde mode was against Octolings, then, like, the fact that they've actually made another race for Horde mode probably leads to the fact that we might have a chance
to,
like,
no, there is. For sure. You don't just add salmon in and be like, oh, this doesn't happen with the story at all. I don't know what you're talking about. We just added a whole mode for salmon.
Period, normally.
Like, just
especially considering how easy it would be just throw in Octarians. Like, there's plenty of just cheap fodder.
I have a very strong feeling that Octolings will somehow be involved with us. Like, the actual Octoling girls or guys, whatever, they'll be involved in the story as a good guys because Callie's there as a double agent.
Or there could be a mission or something like one of the worlds where you disguise yourself as an Octoling. Like
that'd be badass, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you have to. It's like a stealth mission or something. They can't look at you for too long or whatever, and then, hey, it's a multiplayer now. Woohoo!
Yeah, but I'm telling you, the sharks are coming out.
Like my Inkling, like because when you change your Inkling, it's not like, hey, pick another avatar. It's like your Inkling can change their look, so they can also look like an Octoling. But The other thing is that with like the salmon run, I don't know, the whole lore around this game. They talked about making it more global, like how going global, like the Squid Sisters are coming out of Inkopolis into the rest of the world, and actually they're not that famous, but they've talked about expanding, like growing out what the world and the lore is of Splatoon. So, maybe we are going to Australia when we...
But yeah, definitely there's going to be a salmon, and they're going to be the bad guys. I have a very strong feeling that somehow they're involved as the bad guys, or like that third party that just is like they don't have a brain and they just kind of mindlessly kill everything. Like the Flood Hitzel.
Like octo weapons aren't for, striking back at Inkopolis. It's about going back against the salmon. The salmon
infestation, all those eggs everywhere.
And then in the third game, we have to make friends with the salmon.
And no. The salmon don't have brains, so they can't even communicate. So what will happen is that we somehow manage to control the salmon to work on our side to defeat the shark invasion. And sharks are going to be in the second one. It's going to be Rise of the Sharks. Splatoon 2 Rise of the Sharks has been destined. We've called it from last year. It's always going to be around. Sharks are going to happen. And then we're going to have playable sharks in the third one, and a new enemy is going to show up. And it's going to be, I don't know, what's a badass sea creature? Blowfishes.
A kraken. Something that you actually made me think about, like a cool special would be that just a giant shark just comes out of the ink and like clamps down and pulls down whatever's there.
Oh, that's actually one of my ideas for specials. When I was thinking of Rise of the Sharks, I already thought about shark specials. There was a shark special called Shark Bait, ooh ha ha. And what it is the shark... the shark you have like
has,
a giant digger, like it's like you know, like the lurkers in StarCraft. Like you have like a rocket launcher and it shoots a portable shark into the ground of ink, and it has a fin that comes out. And then once it sees an enemy, it just kind of like jumps up with this giant hole and just eats you.
So, for those of you who know League of Legends, it's Fizz's ultimate. It's what Spoon's described.
Actually, yeah, that's pretty good. It's awesome. So yeah, that's all my theories for the single player. I'm a bit far out there, but it'll happen, boys. Don't worry. When sharks happen, you're gonna be like, oh my god, Spoon was right. His uncle must work for Nintendo.
And then it's gonna not happen. It's like, all right, Splatoon 3, Rise of the Sharks. I know it. It happened.
Splatoon 2, Return of the Octolings. Splatoon 3, Rise of the Sharks.
On the topic of specials, I actually have been thinking of what another like kind of cool special that I think would work with the way like the tone of the game is and is probably like needed, because the splashdown is sort of like the Kraken replacement, right? Where it's like you get up close to people and you have like a big attack that you kill people with. Like that's kind of the thing. Okay. You're just not invincible anymore. I think something that could replace Bubble would be, imagine, you know how when you get out your killer whale, you get out the megaphone and you aim it and you pull the trigger and it shoots the big sound wave? Imagine a different special. Instead of doing that, you pull out the megaphone, you aim it. When you pull it, it makes like kind of like a slow moving sound wave that's like kind of big, and it'll push bullets back. But it only like protects like from the front, so it can kind of replace like the point of Bubble, which is kind of like to have like a shield that like covers you guys as you push. Whereas this one, it would only protect you from the front, and it would take some startup, and you had to shoot it. And it could go through walls and stuff too. Like that would be kind of cool the same way as Whale. But instead of it being just a complete invincibility super thing, the way like Bubble is, where it's like literally everyone is invincible and it's like BS and stuff, I think it would go more in line with the way that specials are being designed in Splat 2. I don't know if you guys think about that. And then we could also keep the cool like kill the whale like
maybe.
Yeah.
That's the best.
Kind of like a Reinhardt shield.
I think then they like give Symmetra something like that. Like, I haven't played Overwatch in a while, but they changed her up like something like that. Mm-hmm. I think that would be a better Bubble replacement than Bubble.
Well, the splashdown does give some protection around the splashdown user as well. Bullets don't go through that, so maybe they'll expand that functionality out. They've got some implementation there. Yeah, but it's sort of like pretty obvious to us that like the specials, no invulnerability, all that is they're trying to reduce I think how obvious lag is. So, you know, when you have an invulnerability special, it is super obvious when the latency goes against you. Like
says the Australian.
You know all about this, my friend. I didn't want to say it, but you pointed it out.
No, that makes sense. The overall feeling that I got was based on how they've given like new like movement options and little quirks and stuff to weapons, and how like the invincibility specials are going away, and maybe even like the lack of like just instant kill specials and spectator mode and stuff, is they're just trying to make they're trying to get rid of like the kind of, they're trying to make it take a little bit more skill in general.
Yeah,
I felt like, and maybe not even necessarily like to hide lag, but because I don't think that they really think about lag that much, because they're really thinking about just Japan, and they're like, Australia isn't real, so just salmon live there.
Yeah, but see, Japanese players get really angry playing the rest of the world, and if they want to like, you know, link up these areas, they want to make, you know, Japan want to play with the rest of the world, because that's how they're going to sell more units in other regions. The game is so popular in Japan, and like in other regions it's popular, but
actually this will kind of segue into just another thing I had. Sorry, speaking of this, is that because I've noticed this more and more as we've continued on, is that for example, Australia has their scene and Nintendo's kind of supporting that. We're seeing Europe be heavily supported. There's a couple of things I've been hearing about EU that's pretty cool, and then we have US, which is Nintendo reaching out to Battlefy, reaching out to us, and then now we kind of have more of a kind of relationship with Nintendo, and I know EGTV has talked to Nintendo too. So it seems like there's a lot more involvement, and they're willing to listen to us. What do you guys... so me personally, I feel like you're probably going to see less international teams now. I think you're not going to see like a Chimera where you have like 2 US, 2 EU. I feel like it's going to be a lot more regional based. That's how I see the future going with this, is like they're going to focus on those regions and then slowly merge them together for like major tournaments and stuff like that. Because that's how it's working for E3. And I feel like that's just how they work as a business model in general. Like NOA functions on North America. EU functions on EU. Japan functions on Japan. So if we fill that structure for them, it makes them easier to support us. And I don't want to sound bad in that way, like, oh, we don't want globalization of that level. It's like, no, but it creates a scene where North America can foster its competition, Australia can foster its competition, and then we join up at the end. And that's like the big duel, right? It's like, what's the best region? And that creates a better storyline too, I find. And I just think it's better for Nintendo to, if we present it that way, Nintendo will probably be more on board with us as well.
I think that there's something missing from games that you see in like sports and stuff, where people will like their local sports teams, etc. Where like games don't have that because it's just people are just playing from wherever. And I think that that helps, not on the same kind of level, because like me liking the Phillies or something like that, because I'm from near Philadelphia, is not really equivalent to like, I really like cyberbullies because they're all from the East Coast or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, but it more works on when it comes to like big majors and stuff, and kind of the international tournaments. Like, people will kind of rally behind their whatever their country that's there. Like, kind of like how in Inkstorm, where it's like the last Western team, everyone's like, yeah, whoa, go, and then they lose, and then
no one watches it anymore. Yeah.
And then also like it'll be easier for like when we get to these big finals matches and stuff like that, where we are trying to grab as much of the outside world as possible. It's way easier to paint the picture like, oh, this is North America, this is Japan.
It's easier to build the narrative of each player and what they have to go through.
Yeah, it's easier to present it.
Yeah, also...
And I think for aspiring players as well, it gives you a target that maybe you can hit. Like, you know, for all of us here, we want to beat Bro, because we know we can't beat anyone from any of the other regions. but like, we've got that target to hit, and like, you know, we can keep trying to end at getting that good. And that's actually one of the reasons why I like that Blue Ring Doctorlings will be our representatives at E3. Like, Scarface, really great players, but they are, you know, players that, as I said, known because they played with international teams. Blue Ring Doctorlings are a true blue Aussie / New Zealand team. Yeah. So they are going to be, like, having them represent Australia and New Zealand feels like really like that narrative that you were talking about.
It's good. And I think that's really important. Is like, it's like what you said exactly. When EGTV does things with Japan and US, right? The second any North American or European team goes out, like, me personally, my interest is gone, because like, as much as the Japanese players are good, like, that narrative isn't there. There's no investment for me to care about those players. I don't understand what they're saying.
The Japanese voice chat's great.
It's not xenophobia. It's just
very
like,
fortunate.
It's just, I don't understand what they're saying. I can't follow up with it. And at the same time, is like, just the way that it's built is like, we're kind of isolated, and I feel like you want to root for that person that you know, right? Like, I'd love to root for an American team that's in there. And the same thing applies to like the region-based teams. You can, it's a lot easier to focus on, like, let's say 8 big US teams than it is to focus on 32 world teams, you know? It's way harder to present 32 teams to like a new player. Instead, you could be like, hey, here's 8 real good teams. Which team do you like? And you can check it off of personality or just their gameplay or how they play, or, you know what I mean? It creates that type of thing. So you root for people, let's say in US, but let's say they get eliminated, and then you go to like a world stage, right? You still vote for that team, even though they weren't your favorite. They're still like that team that you can support. And like what Hitzel's saying, that's kind of what we need. We need to appeal to a casual audience that is looking at it from a sports view. So
I think it's actually kind of very lucky of us to have had a Western, either an American or a European team, like, get to like top 4 of all the Inkstorms, at least, because if that hadn't happened, it would have been actually kind of a big problem for for like the top 8s of that. Like if it was just Japanese teams for like the top 6 teams or something like that, like interest would just like plummet. But luckily, there's always like one team holding on, like almost until like the very end, or like in like Inkstorm 2, we had like in grand finals, we still had a Western team. If it had gone differently, it actually probably would have like kind of affected like maybe even people's view on like the tournament from the outside if we hadn't had like familiar names getting all the way to the end.
Yeah. All right. So I think that wraps up. We got into a different segue, but that was a good. It was a good segue. All right, so we'll get into a couple of viewer questions. I don't really have a lot. I have some pretty good ones, and I figure it applies since Alecat, you're currently it's like 2 a.m. for you or something.
Yeah, almost.
Well, she's willing to be up at 2 a.m. She already talked about it, so it's fine.
So I guess the first question is, this is from Uberu, our artist on Ink TV. She says, "What's your favorite midnight snack?" This is for all of us. Everyone's stumped?
No.
Come on.
I'm old
guac
now.
and
I don't
chips.
snack at midnight anymore. You know what?
Yeah, I
no.
couldn't do
I'm
it
just gonna say
Okay,
this
what's your
because I
favorite
have
9 o'clock snack? I'm not being picky here. It doesn't need to be exactly at midnight, guys.
You
Like,
know what? I have a huge rant about how they ruined Australian Pringles, and I have to get your American Pringles now.
wait.
and that's
So
it.
wait, there's a difference between Australian Pringles and American Pringles?
About like 6 months
Do
ago,
they put more salt?
They swapped our Pringles over. They now like come from manufacturers in Malaysia and Indonesia, and like the cans are smaller, so you get less Pringles. They cost more. They have a weird texture to them, so I have to buy American Pringles.
Oh, so you just described Australia.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks. We have
Smaller, more expensive, has a weird texture.
How do you? What's the best way to describe Australia? Malaysian Pringles.
Oh man. Yes.
I thought they were our friends.
Oh man, I can't. Oh. I'll be sure to give Blue Ring Octolates a pack of Pringles when I meet them. Look, we got you the right ones. So, really, but so then what do you like? Because you just mentioned what you dislike, but
No, I like Pringles, but
Oh,
they have
okay.
to be the right.
Like ed past tense. Like Pringles.
So what's your favorite flavor of Pringles?
Oh, sour cream and onion.
Oh, that's the way to go. Good choice. Good choice.
Yeah.
I totally appreciate the sour cream and onion. Oh, by the way, for anyone who's wondering, I will rag on myself being Canadian all the time, so don't worry about it.
That's all right. We've got like a common queen, so we can.
Yeah, Victoria Day's coming up. Wait, do you guys have Victoria Day?
No, we do like Queen's birthday,
And when's that?
except it's like on the King's All birthday, like second Monday in June. We already had it, I think.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait,
Ours
June-
is this
Apparently
Monday.
it's not that important. I
We're
don't know what it
celebrating
was.
the Queen. There's literally no reason for the day. Like, the day is to celebrate the Queen. There's no particular
Yeah.
moment in particular as to why it's important. It's just Victoria Day. And where I'm from, we vehemently reject it because I live in Quebec, which is separatist from Canada. They don't want anything to do with the Queen. So I'm actually going to have a protest downtown Montreal of people waving the
Celebrate the
Quebec
Queen. I wanna
flags.
do that.
No, and they just yell out, "Fuck the Queen," like all day. I'm not kidding. This happens every year.
But she's giving you a day off, and you're wasting it.
Well, because we have another day off called Saint Jean Baptiste, which is the separatist day, and it's only in Quebec.
Come to Australia.
And
We
that's
know
when
how
they
to
wave
do
their
days
flags,
off,
the same
okay?
flags
Like,
to say that we reject the Queen. They go now, yeah, Quebec. So it's just 2 holidays to rant about things. It's great. I'm not complaining.
Normal Canadians have like a "Don't fuck the Queen" day.
Yeah, actually no. So they have the Victoria Day, which is the day that's on Monday, because we're still federal, right? So I get that day off. But but yeah, Quebec has something called the rest of Canada has a Civic Day, not like a Honda Civic Day, just the Civic Day, and all it is it's just a day off because we have a day off, so like everyone complains, so they need another day off for the rest of Canada. So it's a Civic Day. That's what it is. But yeah, I hope this attrition stays because then I keep getting more days off. You know what I mean? So I don't mind. I just don't stay a part of it. I just watch that happen, and I get 2 days off, so I'm not complaining.
Popcorn.gif.
Yeah, so that was my favorite midnight snack. No, so Hitzel, how about you?
So like I'm weird, and I kind of front load all my eating to the beginning of the day. I have like a gigantic breakfast and like a little bit of a lunch, and then I kind of like don't really have dinner. And I don't know, I just like don't really eat much late. But when I'm just like super hungry, I've actually just so happened to always have some leftover like chicken tenders from like this bar that my girlfriend and I go to down the street. So I'll just kind of like sleepily grab one of those and just walk around the kitchen eating it. And those are pretty good because they usually got like sriracha sauce on them or something. I don't know if that answers the question at all, but that's the answer you're getting.
You like
chicken nuggies. There you go. That's your answer.
Chicken tenders on a regular basis. You just like walk out of there with.
No, it's just like I don't really eat that much late at all. Like I guess if anything, I'll just have like a couple crackers and a glass of milk or something like that. But when I do actually want like actual food at late at night, it just so happens that it's like, I guess it's just I do it on like Mondays or something because we usually go to the bar on the weekends and then she'll order like chicken wings, like chicken tenders, and eat one. She'll be like, "I'm gonna take these home," and I'm like, "Okay, cool." And then they're in my fridge, and she leaves. So I just have like leftover chicken tenders every week. And
so, how about you, Blake?
Guac and chips.
Pretty good. How often do you have guac and chips?
On an abbreviation basis.
Not that often. It used to be a lot more. It's tailored down a little bit. Pretty much since I started streaming, and I just don't feel like people want to see me, being a fatty and just shoveling my face full of guac. Because it's not like it's from a local grocer here, and they just make like a tub of it, and I'll get a big tub of guacamole, and then eat the entire tub of guacamole in a single sitting, and no one needs to see that. Me just consuming it's probably about 2-3 pounds of guacamole at once.
Does it resemble that GIF of from the Splatoon 2 single player trailer where that one character like regurgitated
the dynamite in reverse?
It's just that in reverse, just me just shoveling in guacamole.
But you reminded me when like I had an American coworker come to Australia and they went to the food court next door and ordered guacamole and chips. And they gave them guacamole and what you guys call French fries. Everyone was super confused on all sides. They were like, "Why the hell did you order this?" And she was like,
"Why did you order this?"
So I don't know. What do I eat for a midnight snack? I'm trying to think. Like I am a fiend. I eat whatever is there.
Spoon is not shy about sharing that experience on the microphone.
As long as he can eat it with a spoon, we're good.
Yeah, like, for example, this is, like, my new thing. Actually, I'm more of a drink guy, to be completely honest. I love drinks, like soft drinks, water, you name it, anything. I like drinking drinks at night. And this just came back out in Canada, Vanilla Coke. Coke sponsor me. This is the best drink of all time. And this is probably my guilty pleasure at any time of day, including midnight.
I actually like vanilla Coke a ton. Like,
yeah, vanilla Coke is my favorite thing ever. Besides that, I don't know. I had some alcohol brownies not too long ago of Kahlua and Bailey's.
Was it alcohol? Was it?
What? Yes, it was alcohol.
Were they alcoholic brownies?
Like rum brownies or something?
Yeah, it was Kahlua and Bailey brownies.
Okay.
Yeah. I had those because I got them as like a thank you. Because I gave someone Spotify Premium. What else? I don't know. Yeah, that's pretty much what I have. Just a lot of water. I'm very boring.
The answer to the question, what we eat as midnight snacks, is the look on the face of the person that got ordered guac and chips and thought they meant French fries. That's that's our response. Midnight snack?
I mean, to be fair, I'm a big foodie. Like, I'll eat a ton of food, but nothing at, like, midnight. I don't have, like, a snack in particular that I'm like, I need it. But I'm a big foodie. I love going out to eat food. I love trying new foods. So that's like, the second reason. Like, first reason I want to go to LA is, like, E3, right? Meet everyone. But the second reason is totally, like, I'm just going to be a fat ass. Like, I'm going to eat everything, man. Like, In-N-Out Burger, I'm so excited. Viet food,
it's like
Korea barbecue, let's go. Let's go all night, man. I'll eat all night.
if it's like the way it was when I went to E3 a couple years ago, there's a bunch of restaurants that just surround the venue, and they'll like literally have like tables and stuff set up outside where you can just like, I want to go get some fancy shit from over there real quick, guys. I'll be right back, and you just kind of like run down the stairs and then out to like something. You just grab a shot of something and have like a bunch of like give the guy like whatever amount of money. I don't know. I'm drunk. Whatever. Give it to me, and then you just go run back inside. It's good.
All right. So, second question, and then we'll end the last one with a little bit more serious tone, and then we'll close out. So, second question is, how do you guys say it? Because I know that we have 2 Americans here and 2 people who speak the right language.
The Queen's English, even though we hate the Queen.
I mean, whatever. That's fine. But we speak the right English.
Fuck the Queen's language. Yeah.
We have the right units of measurement. We have the right everything else. Americans just do their own thing because they're just waving their huge USA flag, and they're like, "Yo, listen, I'm USA. I can change the rules because I'm USA." But yeah, we do everything right. So, how do you say for a soft drink? Is it a soda or is it pop?
Soda.
But this is also.
So
As
I like
a
how you said,
caveat.
how do you say for a soft drink? Because that's the answer right there. We call it a soft drink.
Oh wow, you're too fancy.
Too fancy. It's actually a very divisive topic, even in America.
It's from different parts of America. It's like because we're the same size of Australia, but we're actually populated.
Yeah.
Everybody's not the same.
That would be more of a joke for Canada. If we're going to be real here, that's a joke for Canada. Like, we are very not populated, and we have the largest amount of land on the face of the planet. So, we have, like one person per, like, 400 miles. Like, all of north of Quebec just is vapid. There's no one living there. It's just nothing. But, yeah, I say soda. As well. I've never said pop in my life. I think if you say pop, I just can't say it. It's so awkward to me.
So like I was saying with the regional based thing, I grew up in a region that was soda. So my entire life is just soda, and that was just what was natural. I now live in Kansas City, and it's pop, and it's weird as fuck. It is the weirdest thing. Just seeing people's like, "Oh, I'd like to have a pop, please." It's like, "Oh, are we 4? God."
What is lemonade in Canada? What constitutes lemonade?
Lemon, sugar, water.
Oh no.
And a lot of ice. Why? What's lemonade in Australia?
Like Sprite? Or
that's like that limonade or whatever the heck that French word is. Like
that's
limonade.
Limonade. It means lemonade in French. It's the same thing.
Well, it's pronounced different because it was like that when we went to Europe
it's
too.
In French. Of course it's pronounced differently. It's like bonjour. Well, it's clearly not hi. It's different because it's said differently. Like it's lemonade. It's the same thing.
It's like this is like turkey and this is chicken.
This is
what I mean? Like
this is the whole American thing. You guys try to put French words and things and change the definitions to make it sound fancy. You're fucking everything up.
They changed the definition and it's like deer and deer. Like that's I don't know.
That's
don't carbonate.
That's what you need for a thesaurus. It's the same definition. It's a different definition, same word. Is that a synonym?
When I was in Poland, I had to tell them
stupid?
to stop giving me carbonated water. Like, why are you giving me seltzer water for my... Why? Like, I want a glass of water. I've been walking around all day. This is weird. Stop. And then they were, like, unable to listen to what I was saying because I was speaking in English, so I just drank the stupid carbonated water.
But yeah, Alecat, to be clear, in Canada, we don't have, like... we're really similar to the United States in terms of a lot of stuff, but there are some things that we don't have. Like... well, like, in terms of the people, we're a little bit different, but I mean, like, for food-related stuff, we have a lot more Cadbury-based stuff because of our dairy laws. Like, our dairy laws are a lot more liberal than the United States. So a lot of our content has way more dairy in it. So, like, Cadbury's a lot smoother and creamier than what is in the United States, if they have Cadbury at some points. We have these candies called Maynards. That like make like fuzzy peach and like sour cherries and like wine gums, which are like the greatest candy ever, and they don't exist in the United States. Oh, and ketchup chips. We have ketchup chips in Canada, and everyone loves them, and no one understands why the United States doesn't have them. Ketchup chips exist.
I hate ketchup like with a passion. Period.
Yeah, true.
Like, I can't stand ketchup.
Well, because all of your sweet stuff in America, it's all like high fructose sugars, like corn syrup, isn't it? We use real sugar. Yeah.
Not all of it.
Everything in America is evil poison, and it will kill you.
So basically, the creatures of Australia just in food form.
They'll like just ruin your insides.
To be honest, that's probably one of the largest reasons why I haven't gone to Australia. Well, or like, it was like it's on my list at the bottom. I'm actually deathly afraid of insects, and I just watched too many documentaries on like Discovery where it's like, this is the giant kill you spider that's like 10 feet wide, that's larger than yourself and eats humans for a living. And I'm just like, I can't deal with this shit.
For a living,
I don't ever want to encounter a giant spider that's going to eat me.
Consuming humans.
I live in Quebec. There's literally nothing harmless here. Nothing is poisonous in Quebec. There's not a single thing that can kill you in Quebec. Like, not a single thing.
Because nothing can survive outside.
Exactly. Only humans can survive. It's the perfect location. No hurricanes, no tornadoes, no insects that'll kill you, nothing poisonous. Our snakes don't even have teeth.
Igloo, and I'm going to keep it like that.
Everything's amazing. Exactly. It's perfect. So that's why. So I go out in the world and I find out things are poisonous, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to die when I walk outside. I'm afraid that if I go into Australia and put my shoe on, there's a black widow spider that's going to bite me and I'm going to die.
You know what? Spoon is just running to the hospital and has like the Pokemon, like your Pokemon's like he's gonna make it there in time.
All right. I guess that wraps up our joke questions for today. Last thing is I guess I want
real question.
Yeah, we're gonna get one last real question, and I'm gonna bring it up because I get a lot of these questions for some reason. And I feel like we just need to like clarify, and I think this might be good for Alecat as well, so that she can maybe explain. Is that everyone keeps asking us on what our opinion is of ARMS, and do we think it's the new Splatoon of fighting games, and are we going to run ARMS tournaments synonymous with Splatoon, and are we going to start supporting ARMS like we are Splatoon, and this whole thing, right? So I feel like we should just clarify it now for everyone. I wrote a post before because we wouldn't answer it, but so many people are bringing up ARMS for us on a Splatoon podcast that I feel like I should just clearly and obviously state that this is a Splatoon podcast and a Splatoon organization. Do you see the name ARMS anywhere?
I think that the first thing to say is that if ARMS is going to receive any kind of support from like a Nintendo game community, it's going to be Smash. So ask them. Like, we have to piggyback off Smash for their live events as it is now. Like, how are we going to have ARMS piggyback off us? I mean, just logically that makes sense. But yeah. I think that I don't know. I think that for the most of the fighting game scene, I don't think anyone really sees ARMS as being something that's going to be like that competitive. They just see as it's something that's going to be awesome. And like they want to like do the mode where you just try to like combo someone up in the air and slam dunk them into a hoop, like a basketball hoop, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that looked awesome. Yeah. To be fair, I was not hooked on ARMS like at all. And then I saw there's a mode where you could play basketball with the enemy, and I was like, I'm down. I'm like, you sold me on ARMS. I just want to play the dunking game all day. So
I'm just creating 20-player lobbies and it just randomly picking from the pool of lobbies and just throwing games out. So it's like its own little micro server for lobby making. Mm-hmm. Oh, that is swell. That's gonna be a lot of fun at bars.
Yeah. So like so let me clarify from like a player standpoint, as a person, like I'm gonna play ARMS. I'm excited to like play it with friends and have a good time. Do I think us as an organization at Ink TV, are we going to run ARMS content? And my answer to that is probably not. We have too many things going on, and most of it's Splatoon. And we've already made our plan for the future, and all of it's Splatoon. We don't have resources with no money to go into any other type of game. It's just not possible. Second thing is
partner with them for events or something like
exactly. That. Like if we wanted to partner with other games or stuff like that, that's fine. And And like we said, in the future, it may be something where, let's say Nintendo comes to us and says, we want to host an event. There's going to be ARMS. Can you be a part of that? Like, sure, we're not going to say no. You know, if an opportunity comes where someone is pitching ARMS to us or pitching Smash to us for like, here's this giant thing, do you want to run it? I mean, there's a chance that we probably won't say like, well, fuck no. You know what I mean? Like, of course we're going to do it. Maybe if we have time, if we have resources. So answer to that is maybe. But at least in terms of what we're specifically going to do, if we're deciding it, we're not getting offers from outside. We're probably only going to focus on Splatoon and Splatoon 2. And since Splatoon 2 is coming out very soon, we're focusing all our efforts on Splatoon 2. So ARMS is totally not my priority. When the game comes out, I'm going to play it, going to have a good time. I'm not going to run a tournament for it. That's about it. What about you, Alecat?
I think...
Yeah, we're pretty much the same, but where you said you have a lot of plans, we have no plans, so we should probably make them. So we have no time to incorporate ARMS in that. And like we hang out and have fun games, you know, in our little server of Australians and New Zealanders anyway. So people do spin off and play Mario Kart or whatever in their own time, and we're happy for them to do that. And there's a couple of other Australian servers, not Splatoon specific, where people can meet up for that sort of thing, and we'll probably push people that way. But we're not going to get into ARMS at this point.
Yeah. And Blake, what were you going to add?
I was just going to say, it may have been a very different story. I am thoroughly excited and would not for the world wish that Nintendo would push back the Splatoon 2 release date. But if they had put the Splatoon release date, say, the holiday season, and we got ARMS when they're staying at the end of June, that may have been a very different situation. Being able to build up that scene as a carryover, as Splatoon 1 has been winding down, letting ARMS come in and take its place as that focal point until Splatoon 2. But given the, 30-some days that we have between ARMS release and Splatoon 2, ARMS is going to get kind of shot in the foot a little bit, at least in our scene. Like, I imagine it's going to be very popular for that month, and then drastically drop off after Splatoon 2.
And I also don't think it's something we need to focus on because, like Kitzel said, Smash is going to be that community that picks it up. FGC is going to pick it up. That's the thing. Fighting games are unique because they don't focus on one game in particular. FGC kind of like encompasses a whole unity of just fighting game genre. Like, we don't have like a shooting game genre tournament thing, We focus on games. Community.
But it's also like what mechanics and visuals are common through those games. And so ARMS is in its own niche there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, where we used to have like the anime fighters versus the Street Fighter style fighters, like where is ARMS even going to fit? Are people going to do this?
It's going to fit in Wii U boxing.
Yeah.
Competitive Wii U boxing.
I'm skeptical about ARMS, to be honest. But
yeah. Well, I think that if you... who has been ever asking these questions, if you go back and just replace the word ARMS with Pokken and wind the clock back a little bit, I think like a lot of the answers are going to be the same. And also, I think that something that I want to just address is like, because part of that is like, oh, is this going to be like the Splatoon of fighting games? It's not, and I'll tell you why it's not. What Splatoon is, like, as a shooter, if you take away the paint mechanics and you just have like the moving back and forth and the shooting and stuff, it's really not that like different, and the paint mechanic is the thing that's like this like whole like new crazy concept that's never been done before, and it like contributes to all those things, and it's like it's a good shooter, and it's really not that much out of the box from what makes a good shooter, and that's why it's good. Like, Splatoon is a unique shooter, but it's not good because like the paint mechanic just makes it good. No, it's a good shooter that has this unique mechanic that has the draw. Like, that's what's actually happening. Whereas like ARMS, there's been plenty of camera behind the boxer like punching games in the past. There's been a lot. It's not like people haven't thought of that before. It's just they never catch on. Like, if you go back and dial back, look at all the EVOs that have ever happened, or if you look at just like, and you look at all those kind of like, like hand behind, like Punch Out. I don't know if you remember that game. Like, all those kind of games, they never stick. Like, that type of fighting game just doesn't work in the long run, for at least for competitive games. It just hasn't been done right. Is there anything that is there anything about ARMS that makes me think that that's different? Not really. I feel like it's going to be fun. I feel like it's going to be good. But Splatoon didn't do that. Splatoon didn't take the third-person shooter genre that had never worked before and make it work. Third-person shooter games have been popular. Like, they're pretty much the same as first-person shooters. The camera's just a little bit different. That's not what ARMS is doing. It's a genre that just traditionally hasn't worked. So I think if you're going to think about it as being like the Splatoon of fighting games, sorry.
All right. So yeah, I think that's it. That's our stance on it. But actually, speaking of that, because in relation to like other content, is that we are going to probably have in the coming things, like on our podcast for maybe the next next coming things, like in the next month of June. Actually, our podcast may be a little bit more varied for the next 2 episodes because we are all going to E3. All of Ink TV staff is going to E3 pretty much, including Hitzel, Caster. Yeah, what's up?
Will you take me?
Sorry?
Can I go?
Yeah, if you want to head out now, we're just about to close out. Okay, so before we go, thank you so much, Alecat, for joining us today. It's been a pleasure.
And yeah,
I know we've been ragging on Australia, but we love Australia.
Yeah, we like you too, and thanks to all of you. Like taking everything in a very good natured, with all of this awful bullying from these North Americans. So, it's been great, guys.
All right,
thank you for having me on.
And where can we find you? Do you want to plug an event that you're running?
You know what? It's really lame. Not anything right now, but you can find out about our stuff at Oceanik Squids. So that's Oceanic, except the end is ink. And we're on Twitter, Twitch, and we've got a Discord channel. You can pop in, and if you post now, everyone should be asleep except they're watching the podcast, so they're not. So we might reply to you.
All right. I'll plug everything on our YouTube. We'll put all the descriptions below afterwards. So just be sure to click on those links so you can support them. All right. See you later, Alecat. Or Alecat, sorry. All right.
Alecat. Depends on the time of day, I guess.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
All right. So speaking of, like I said, future content, for the next month or 2 weeks, we will be running E3 content coming up to it because we do want to cover more than just Splatoon when we're at E3 because it's a once in a lifetime opportunity for all of us and we have enough staff to do it. So you're probably going to see a little bit of like more Nintendo games, a couple of interviews going on. So that'll be it. Yeah, so you're going to see a little bit more from us. Our podcast might be a little bit more general, talking about future of Splatoon, not future of Splatoon, like interviews for E3. We'll talk about different types of games, what we're excited about going into E3, leading up. Still Splatoon focus. We're still going to probably focus on that generally, but we might branch out a little bit for more Nintendo stuff, maybe a couple more games here or there. And then we're also planning to have some podcasts during E3 if we can possibly do it. Just talking about our day's events and things going on. So yeah, what you can look forward to in the future is we're 100% going to have interviews with the players at Oceanik, at E3. And we're also going to have just like us walking around the place and trying out different games, trying out ARMS, Splatoon, stuff like that. So look forward to all our E3 post and pre-content coming up. So yeah. So let's start with plugs. Hitzel, where can we find you?
Yeah, you can find me twitch.tv/Hitzelberger. My Skype, my Twitter is Hitzel89 and my YouTube is Hitzel. So if you just try to find Hitzel somewhere, you'll probably get to one of them.
All right. And
do some videos and crap, yeah.
Blake, where can we find you?
Well, you right about there, that Black Sword D2. You can find me there on Twitch, on the Twitters, on the YouTubes. Pretty much if you slap that name into something, you'll find me.
All right.
We're really good at self-branding.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
You can find me
that's
at Cryptic
great.
Spoon, but I prefer if you guys just go to Ink TV Splat on Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter, and you can find us there. I look forward to new content coming towards us. We have other things to announce in the future. Like I said, we have a bunch of things planned. So, yeah. Thanks for the episode, guys. Thanks, everyone, for watching. We'll see you guys later.
Cool. Bye.